Hey everybody, Sean here from BoredParacord.com, and today, I know it's been a while, I haven't done a video in a while. I think I've got a new design here that I've come up with, and tentatively I'm going to call this the Droopy Loop, and you'll see why in a little bit once we get started. I'm going to do a little research. If I come up with a real name for this, if somebody else created it, then it will be reflected on the title and in the description. So let's get started. I have two colors here, Caribbean blue and silver. Both of them are cut at 8 feet. Both of the ends are flattened so that they will go through the buckle easier. And I've already fused the two together. So this is my center point. Got about 16 feet of cord, probably a little more than I need, but it's always good to have a little more than to come up short. So I have a 1/2 inch buckle, and you could probably go with a 5/8 buckle on this one if you wanted. So the first thing I want to do is about an inch away from your fuse here. We're going to create a loop just like that, and we're going to take this loop, pass it down through the buckle like so, and then we're going to basically do just this, and then we're going to open up this loop, pass the loop over top of the buckle, and pull everything up through like that. And that gives us an easy cow's hitch. Real simple to do. And you want to pull the fuse section through like so, so that the fuse section here is going to be on the inside of your weave so that you don't see it. Normally the fuse section I would always put here, but then you see it, and I think this is a much better alternative. Alright, so once you get that down to that point, we're going to take our buckle, flip it over, put my index finger in the cord, and what that does is it gets rid of all these spots where it's twisted or the cord is over top of each other. And it looks like we got a little bit of a traffic jam going here, so I didn't undo any of this before I started the video, so there we go. So we'll just pull all this cord through to get rid of all that twisting. And then that leaves us with our two ends. One's going to be a little shorter because we're trying to hide that fuse section. Take our buckle, flip it back over, and pass your cord from the bottom of the buckle up through the top, just like that. And this is where the flattened ends really make it easy to come up through that buckle. Go ahead and pull everything through. And try not to get hooked on your camera equipment while you're doing it. Alright, there we go. There's one more. And now we have our basic shape for our bracelet. But let's go ahead and open this up and show you how to measure this out. So you want to slide your buckle. You can slide this up and down the cord rather easily. You want to take your measurement from the end of this buckle to this edge right where my finger is pointing. Don't measure this part because this is going to be inside of here, and you will end up making your bracelet bigger than it needs to be. Once you have your measurement, what you're going to do is, say if you're measuring somebody's wrist at 6 inches, add about a 1/2 inch to this because that's going to give you a little bit of wiggle room, and it's always good to be a little bigger than a little small. Alright, so I'm just going to do it at this length. That's about 7 inch, I think. I don't have my tape measure, so I don't know for sure. And then get kind of set up like I am. You're going to have your Caribbean blue coming out from the back side of the buckle up and off to the right, and the silver off to the left. And we're not going to do like normal, like a Solomon or a Cobra to start this. We're going to kind of make this a little nicer, so a little bit different start to it. So we're going to create a loop with your cord and take it over the center strand, and then take your working end through the two center strands and bring it up through the loop. And while you're doing this, you want to pinch everything so that you don't lose your measured cord, because what will happen real easily is that this cord will go up through the buckle. So you want to pinch the center strands together, that way they don't move, and kind of move everything up toward the buckle, and kind of just slide that cord through the buckle until it gets nice and tight, just like that. Oh, you know what? I did my loop backwards. That loop should have came over the center strands. I'm sorry about that. Well, I get a lot of emails from people. Well, I'll explain that in a second. So you want to create a loop to the left of the center strands and do the same thing. Take your working end around the back of the center strand, up through the middle, and through that loop. And pinch everything, pull it tight. There we go. Now that's how it should look. You should have kind of like a, basically you're just looping that center strand and bringing the cord off to the right. And that locks it onto the buckle as well. Do the same thing with the other one. Create a loop that crosses over your center strands. Take your working end around the left center strand. Bring it up through that loop. I'm going to pinch the center strand while I pull all that cord through there. And at this point, the blue cord is kind of locked in place, so you can always use that as a reference for your silver cord of how long that one needs to be. And I'm just going to pull everything right up to the buckle and make it look like the other side, just like that. And then what you want to do is the loops around the back side, you can kind of cinch them right up to the buckle there. And then we can get started. So the droopy loops is just kind of what it is. You're going to create a loop that kind of droops down with the blue cord. Droops down, take that cord up over the center and off to the left. You're going to do the same thing with the silver cord, but it's going to go behind the two center cords and off to the right. So what you'll end up with, it's kind of hard to set it down here on the work surface, but you're going to have a loop off to the right over the cords, and you're going to have a loop off to the left, and then I want your working ends to come up this way. They're both going to come up like that. So you'll have something that looks just like that. Now I prefer to do this in my hands because I can pinch everything and hold everything together. So the first loop that we did was our blue loop, and it doesn't matter, you can do either one. We're going to take that and cross over our left loop, cross it over, and you want to make sure you go over the top and then around the back and through. And we're going to do the same thing with the left loop. So we have our working end here. We're going to take it over top, above it, bring it across the center strands, and then down through the droopy loop on the left. Now, what we need to do is we need to pull the slack out of the loops first, which is real easy. You've got a spot here and a spot here that you're going to pull on. So you're going to pull, and you're going to basically make a loop up here now. And you're going to do the same thing with the blue side. Just grab and pull. And what that does is that gets rid of these loops over here. And now just pull your slack through. Make sure on this first one that you're over the buckle and not over here when you do it. Just like that. And there and there. The first one's kind of tricky, but once you get it, you've got it. I'm going to pull the blue one, pull the silver one. And these are going to look kind of funny, the first couple ones, because you haven't established your pattern yet. All right, and you want to pull these tight, cinch them up to the buckle as far as you can go. All right, and then you look for this bridge right here. See how you've got a silver bridge crosses over the silver? That's the one that tells you what side is going to go over the middle. So we did the blue side over the middle, over top last time. So we're going to create our droopy loop with the silver, because that's the side that has the bridge, over the top this time. And we're going to get our cord up here and out of the way a little bit. Create your droopy loop. Now you want to make sure that the droopy loop goes under and not over. So you could do it that way, but that's not the right way. So you want to pull this so that your working end is kind of below it. And this one, the blue one this time, is going to go behind the two center strands and kind of up like that. So we've got our silver one. We're going to take it around the back, below the last one that you did, and run it up through the loop that you created there. And then we've got a blue one that went around the back. We're going to, same thing. You want to bring it below the last one that you did, around the front, and through the loop. Alright, now pinch everything right here, and you grab your 2 points again, here and here. And all you're doing is pulling. We'll reach over here and pull that loop tight. Well, not really tight, but, and then grab your working ends and make sure, see how that went underneath? That's perfect. Do the same thing on the other side. They kind of fall into place as you go. And I'm just going to grab those 2 points again and make sure I got them nice and tight. See how I was able to pull that little extra bit? Do it again over here. And that one's already pretty tight, so we're good there. And then just pull those tight. Flatten it out a little bit. Cinch it up. And you can kind of see the pattern that we're going for. You're going to have 2 silvers that are together here, and we're going to do another blue over the top. So we're going to have another blue that'll be right next to each other. So droopy loop, up, out of the way. Droopy loop on the back, and get the silver up out of the way. And like I said, this part doesn't really matter which side you go over or under first, so we'll just do what's closest to my right hand over. And you want to make sure you're below that little bridge. The bridge tells you which one goes over top at the beginning of the tying right there. And then the blue one goes around the back through the loop. I don't know why I like this part the best, but pull your slack, pull it tight, slack, pull a little tight, working end, pull it tight, working end, pull it tight, make sure you're underneath of the last pass, and then go ahead and pull those guys tight. Push it up, and now you can see we've got silver, silver, blue, blue, silver. Silver bridge means that we start on the silver, and that's the one that goes over top. And we'll get that cord out of the way up here. And putting it up here just reminds me that I gotta go, you know, around the top of it. And we'll do the blue droopy loop behind the back. Silver goes around the back, up through the loop, and the blue comes around the front, down through the loop. Pinch everything, slack, slack, pull it tight. This one's pretty easy. This one does take a little bit of time to get used to, but once you get it, it's a pretty nice little design here. And you can see that we're going to end up with kind of like a triangle pattern once we're all done. But at this point, I think you've got enough instructions on what you need to do. If not, you can always back it up and watch it again. I'm going to go ahead and finish this up. I don't want to waste any time for you, doing this whole thing. And then when we get down to the bottom, I'm going to show you how to finish up the bracelet. And I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm down at the bottom here, and I'm a little zoomed in so we can get a little bit better view of this. So what I need to do now is we got our silver as our bridge, so we're going to create a loop here. And once we get this portion done, I'm going to show you where to cut your cord and singe it, finish up the bracelet. And we don't have to use fids on this one because we're not running the cord down through the center strands. Oh, and I just did that one a little backwards, so we'll go back here and tighten these guys up first. That one's already pretty good. There we go. Alright, and I want to pull these ones nice and tight because this is going to be the last one that we do. There we go. Get those cut. And we're just going to make our cut right here and our other cut right there. You want to get that pretty dang close. I think what we can do to make this look a little nicer, so we only have one burn spot, is we're going to run this silver, across and go under this bridge so that we can have just one burn spot. So what I need to do, actually I'm going to use a microfid here just to get under this bridge to loosen it up a little. And it might be kind of hard. Yeah, it's going to be a little hard to loosen that up. So we got to pull a little bit of slack through here first. Alright, we're going to loosen this bridge up. So you're going to have your silver where it comes out. We're just going to run that across the bracelet and down through that bridge. See, we have two cords going through here now. So like before, we're going to pull the slack out of the blue, pull the blue through, and then also the silver nice and tight. And that's going to give us, we're just going to make one cut now to both of these cords. And the nice thing about doing this is that your melt spot will be on the back side of the bracelet. So you shouldn't be able to see it. And I just have a single flame torch lighter here, and I have to be careful because I can't see the flame with all these bright lights. So we're just going to do this real slow. The slower the better. I saw somebody on Facebook a couple days ago asking how they can make their melt points without it turning black. Well, you just do it nice and slow. And that way your burn point is the same color as the paracord. There we go. I don't know where my smoothing tool is, but you can see now you don't have the melted spot on your bracelet. And there it is, tentatively. And I think I asked the question on Facebook to see if anybody knew the name of this bracelet. And so far nobody has, so we're going to call this the Droopy Loop. And that's basically it. It's a little bit thicker bracelet than I thought it was going to be. But still, it turned out pretty nice. I like this one a lot. And it's the same pattern on the front that it is on the back. It's just reversed. So you've got your triangles of silver on the right pointing that way. Or if you flip it over, they're pointing that way. So really cool bracelet. Like I said, it's a little thicker, so you definitely want to add a little bit of length. And we have pretty close to about a foot of cord left of each color. So I used 8 feet in total. Made this bracelet kind of big, so this is going to definitely be an adult size bracelet. But there you have it. I hope you like it. If you haven't already, head over to Facebook and join the Paracord on Facebook group. It's the largest Paracord group on Facebook. And you can show off your stuff, get your pictures out there. And there's a lot of tutorials that other people are posting. So yeah, definitely check it out. It's facebook.com/groups/Paracord on. And I hope to see you there. Until next time, Paracord on.